welcome back to another video. So we have the Denali here. So what's going on with this one is I already fixed it, but I figured, you know what, let me go through the steps on showing you how to fix this issue. So let's say your door handle here, your push button is not working. Your key, the button on your key works. So you push the button and the door opens, okay? So you know that works. You push the button on the top here, the button closes. The button on the door makes it close, like that. The button up front on your overhead console, that opens and closes the door. So therefore you know this button does not work. You don't need a scan tool to go in and check the module to see that in fact on the live data that this button does not work. If everything else works, more than likely this does not work, especially if you're up in the miles and the years on your vehicle. So what happens with this button is on the back of the module, you'll see when I take it out, there's a little bit of silicone. The wires pass through that silicone and get soldered onto the board. Now it's not a chip board. The only thing is it's just a bunch of copper wires, okay, that are on a chipboard that sit like this, and then the button itself, it has the corresponding connection points. When you push down, it makes the connection, sending the signal up to the computer saying to open up the door. That's all it does. So what you're going to do is when you open this up like this, we're going to be popping this panel right here off. So we're going to pop off this panel and I'll show you how to get that handle off. Okay, so from here we got to get this body panel off right here. So what we're going to do is over on the side, we're going to, with your fingers or what have you, you're going to kind of pull down a little bit. You could get some type of hook like this, or they have body panel plastic like pry bars you could get, where you take something like this and you could put a paper towel on it or a regular towel like this, and just to protect the paint. And then you're going to get up in the back of the body panel and just pull it down. Now it's going to like pop out, so don't think that you're breaking it. You just got to slowly work your way around with your fingers and pop them out like this. So you're going to kind of move yourself around. I'm going to get the other side over here, get this started like that. Now we have two bolts that we got to get out, or two torques. One here where the grab handle is, and one with this little fake leather strap. So we're going to be taking that out. So I'm going to use a ratchet, and we have a Torx bit 30. And we're going to remove this. Remove that one. Now we got to get it from the grab handle right up in here. It's the same one, the T30 Torx. Okay. So now we're going to finish popping this out like so. And then this one here is a little tricky because you have to pull, this one has to pull down like this. That's that one. Then you got to get your fingers up under here or your pry tool, and then pull down on this one also. Try to get that. Some of these could be a little difficult to get out. There we go. Good. If it seems like you're having a problem, just keep up with it. You'll eventually get it out. There we go. Clip stayed in there, that's fine. Okay, so now what we have to do is, if your tailgate closes, or if you want, just pull it down gently like this. We're going to be popping this up like that. You're going to have two little push pins right in here. We're going to have to take these out. So what we're going to need is, let's see, I'm just going to use a little screw. Push in. That'll allow you to take and release these pop pins. Like that. So you're pushing them in. Now we got to reset this for when we're redoing the tailgate, putting everything back together. So we're going to push these back out like this. If they fall apart, just take it apart, leave them out. Crush these 3 tabs back in place. Put it on the side so you don't lose them. If you break these, you could go to an auto parts place and match them up. Just get new ones. I'm gonna need a screwdriver for that one. There we go. Okay, so again, we're going to reset this one, push the pin back out. Okay, like that, put it on the side. Now this panel is relatively free. So I do find that this section tends to be a little tricky to get apart because what it's doing is it tends to hold itself in place. So what it tends to do is it holds itself in place. We have to get these over, kind of pushed over on the side, like that, so that this is free. Same thing with this one. Just pull it over onto the side, get this free, pull this to the side, like that. And then this is now free, completely free. Now we're going to bring this down once more. Open up this hatch. And we're going to start pushing up on this bottom while working the top up and off, like that. This is now free. So we're going to feed it through the bottom. And then this wire has to come off here. This is for your button that closes the door when you push on the lower button. If any of these push pins fall off, make sure you retrieve them. There it is right there. If they fall off, make sure you retrieve them. Locate the spot where they fell off, and then just push it back into place. So this one. All right, so we're at this point here. So I'm going to reposition the camera so you can see the bolts that I have to take off so that we can release that handle. I just wanted to give you a really good look in here just to see the bolts we're taking out. We're taking out these two here next to this rubber grommet, one here and one on the side there. And then you have two holes here. You have two corresponding nuts, one through each hole. Those are the two nuts that we're going to be removing there, and the two nuts that we're going to be removing here, releasing that handle assembly. We also have to take this here, push down on this to release this, and that comes off like that. Okay? All right, so now we will start removing those 4 bolts. Make sure you get yourself a long enough extension so that you can reach them. And this is a 10 millimeter. I'm using a shallow socket. I'm not using a deep socket. So I'm going to loosen these up. Now keep in mind, if the nut comes off one, but it doesn't come off on the other one, don't go too crazy, because what's happening is it's spinning within the plastic. And since they use more of a coarse thread going into the plastic, like almost like a wood screw, it's going to come out of the plastic, but save that one for last. Or if you have 2 of them that are spinning and they're coming out of the plastic, do each side or each one evenly. Do a little on one side, then do a little on the other. This way you don't force the plastic too much, possibly stripping out the plastic or cracking something. So if you have one like this one here that I'm going to be doing, just take your time with that one, go a little slower, and allow it to walk itself out of the plastic. This way you can put it back on when you put the assembly back together. So there you have it right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lower the tailgate and we're going to remove the handle. We're pretty much set. We got to remove this handle. And don't forget, I have the one over here. So what I got to do is slowly do this. And now I have to open up the door so that I can slowly get that out. You always have your key as a backup just in case you need to open and close this, because right now you're going to have both of these switches completely disconnected. So you're going to need your key to kind of open and close the door, especially when the door itself closes. So I'm going to pull this down a little bit. We're going to slowly walk this out. That. There we go. That bolt, because it did not free up the bolt itself. The nut stayed on. It's going to hold itself. So from here, there's this rubber grommet. We have to get this out, and you're going to feed this out, and there you go. This came off. So what we need to do now is we need to take these Torx bits off, and this whole button will come right out of the unit. So let's go over to the bench and we'll pull this apart. All right, so we're here at the bench, and what we need to do is we need to get this assembly out by taking these 4 Torx bits out. So let's go and do that. You could also use, if you have the Torx driver set, which is a regular screwdriver, you could do that. So I'm using a Torx Bit 20, T20. Just be careful if you're using a electric drill on this. Taking them out is one thing, but putting them back is another, because of this being plastic, and if you have an older vehicle, the plastic tends to get brittle. You don't want to strip them out. So to take the little extra time, or put it on a very soft type of ratcheting effect on the drill, I would do that, but I just tend to use my hand. It's a lot better. I can kind of control it so it doesn't strip out. So this comes off like that. This will come out like this. So what you have here is, this is the actual switch. It's really not much. So what you'll find is right here, you can see I resealed it. This is where the water will get in and rot out these two wires, or in my case it was one wire, and the wire literally just fell right off. So what you can do is, with a small screwdriver, you can get into this section here, and you slowly pry it off the silver pins. You'll see 3 silver pins here, 3 on the other side. You pull them up, and if you need to use 2 screwdrivers, you could use 2 screwdrivers, and just kind of pull them up and slowly get them off. And this will eventually pop into 2 pieces. And then what you'll find is, generally, like the other time I took it off to fix this real quick because I didn't have the time to do the video. The other side just came right off. So I got these 3 off. Now this should just pop right off. Now this is what you'll find. This is the corresponding button side, and this is the section here with the contact. So you can see here, I resoldered this one wire here. What I did was, I flipped this around, took the wire off with a very small drill bit. I re-drilled the hole. I stripped the wire. I took the wire, twisted it, pushed it right back through the hole, which brought it up here. And then I put flux on it, and I slowly soldered it back together. That's all you need to do, is make sure that it's contacted back onto this board by soldering it again. If it's both, take both off, drill out the 2 holes. You'll see the holes. Drill them out with a small bit. Take your time, put them right back through, and then resolder them both on. Make sure you do not touch both sides. Make sure they do not touch, because if they touch, obviously it's not going to work. And then take an eraser, clean this off. Mine was green, so I took an eraser from a pencil, just cleaned it all off. Clean off this side, and then what you're going to do is, you're going to put this all back together again. Very simple. Very simple. It's going to save you a lot of money. If you really want to, and this is totally trashed, you're going to get a whole new switch. But this is a lot cheaper doing it this way. So we're going to take this and put it all back together. Okay, here we go. So you drilled those out. You soldered them back in. Don't put the sealant on just yet, because it's easier to put this back together without the sealant. You'll get it all over your hands. And not only that, but maybe all over the place. So we'll put in the 3 pegs down here first. We'll come up here. We'll start with the corner. Get this one in place, that one in place, and then get this one in place. Once you get that in place, the center one just clicks right back in. Now, silicone this wire section back together. We're going to place this back in here like this. We're going to take this bracket. We're going to center everything back in place. Okay, we'll put our 4 bolts back in. This is a nice, easy fix. It really was. It was a really easy fix. I kind of cheated a little bit. I looked at the all data just to see how to get this off, how to get the other assembly off, just because I wasn't exactly sure where the push pins and everything were. So I just wanted to cheat a little bit, make sure that I wasn't pulling on something that I would in fact end up breaking because I was pulling it in the wrong direction. So it's always good to have the all data or a manual on how to get this stuff apart. But then again, we got YouTube, so it's a lot cheaper in the long run. Anyway, so we got this all set. This will work again. It's all back together. All right, so we're gonna go back to the Denali. We're gonna reinstall this, okay? Okay, so one thing is we have this bolt that's still here. You can put some silicone maker RTV on this to make sure that it doesn't walk its way out. This is still pretty good, so it holds. When you have little gaskets like this and you're missing one, just put some of this around it. I'm going to put some more over here because this came off and then I took this back off, so I'm just going to put a dab a little bit more on here so that it holds. This is not to hold the handle on. This is to seal out the water. So I'm just going to add a little extra because we don't want any water getting in the truck. This side does have the gaskets on there, but I'm going to do it just in case anyway, just to make sure that the water doesn't get into the truck. We do have the little rubber sealer here, so we don't need any on there. We're going to fish this through. We're going to push this back down into place. And this tends to be a little pain because you got to hold the door or else you end up pushing the door closed. We're going to push this back into place like that, work your way around it, and then just kind of play with it, make sure that it's in place like that. Now we're going to put this back on. So that goes like that. Now I need, because that one did not come out, what I'm going to have to do is I have to put it in slightly like that, get my ratchet, and now I'm going to be working this back into place. And there we go. So that's tight there. I'm now going to put the rest of the 3 nuts back on. I'm going to snug them up first, and then I'm going to go to each one and tighten them down. I tend to like to do everything evenly when I'm working on cars. I don't like to tighten one thing right away and kind of go from, I tend to try to do everything evenly so that it doesn't twist or break anything, because if you're working with aluminum, it tends to warp it. If you're dealing with plastic, it tends to crack it. So I try to do everything evenly. Now I'll just go back over here and finish tightening it. And I'll do these 2 one more time, just to make sure. Good. Okay. So now we have to reconnect the wires that we disconnected. So I'll turn you around and we'll face up against the tailgate. Okay, so we have now this one here, and don't forget, once we get the panel on, we have the other wire that we have to connect to the button also. Where did my little wire go? Here we go. So what you'll find is, as these pieces of plastic, they get older, they get brittle. So if the little tab, like on this one, that's nice and safe inside the car, if it does in fact get brittle and it breaks off like this, just plug it in and then put some RTV around it or something. Don't rely on electrical tape, because electrical tape tends to, in the cold, it just kind of loses its grip. It falls off. With vibration, this can fall out. Put some gasket maker on it, or silicone or something adhesive that'll harden and it'll hold it together. So we're going to clip this back in place here. I'm going to take this one. We'll get the panel in. We're going to go up, connect it up there first, get it down. I'm going to silicone this in place. We're going to pop everything back together. Guys, so I do have this in place right now. I got the top on where the push pins go. I have this siliconed in here. This is very just cumbersome to try to get it to this point. That's why I couldn't really video it. It's a real pain. You're going to struggle with it. Once you get it over that latch for the top window, you're going to be home free. Put this wire in. Don't forget that wire, or else your button down here is not going to work. So once you have it here, make sure all these white push pins are in place. If any of them came out, put them back. This steel clip came off. It was stuck in here. I put it back on here. So from here, you're basically just going to do all the opposite stuff that you did before. You're going to start pushing this into place. Just remember to pull these down to get these up and over the steel so that they go into place. Then you can start slamming them home. Don't forget to hit these up. And then hit up under here. Work your way around. They have them midway too, so don't forget, you got to hit the middle of the door. On the sides, the top parts here, don't forget these. When in doubt, just keep pushing. Just keep pushing all the different areas so that you know that all the push pins are in place. Okay, we're good to go. We got to put our Torx back in. We got the handle. There we go. So all of this is all set, ready to go. We're going to all right, I gotta close this first. It's getting a little upset. We'll just close it. So we're gonna pop this open here. We got our push pins. Okay, we have our push pins to put in up in here, like that. Once you have it in, then you're gonna take the center and you're gonna push in, make it flush, like that. Pull this out, crush the 3 pins, get it in the hole. take your center, put it in place. And that's it. So at this point, your door is finished. Just double check, make sure that it works. It goes up all the way. Push the button, make sure it goes down. There you go. So that's how you fix this button right here on the back tailgate. So again, this is a really easy one, guys. You could do this. This is no problem. Even when it comes to the soldering, just get a little soldering iron, just kind of solder it in place. If you can't do that, I mean, you could try to glue it, but I wouldn't advise doing that. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, put them down below. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you on the next video.